Hey everyone, good morning. This is UC from iTradePrice. It is January 16th. The market is closed today in the observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So this gives us one more extra day of weekend so we can review the charts. Okay, so you're looking at a chart of QQQ, monthly chart, right? You can see the monthly bar went from red to green right here, right? We opened the month around 269. We took a little bit of dip down. We held this support right here, and now we're making way back up. So by the time this month gets done, we can be towards the top here, right? 297, who knows? Digging down into the weekly structure, clearly you can see there was this sort of a bottoming pattern with buying pressure, right? Usually the bottom wicks show that there's buying pressure off of this support, right? We had 3 consecutive weeks of bottom wicks, and then once this past week started, we see a little bit of wick down, and then eventually all the move up. So you can see this 281.3, 282 is a very important critical area in terms of, because it has some history, right? You can clearly see it used to be a resistance here, right? And then it became support around the same area, right, over here. And now this can actually act as resistance before finally the price wants to break out above that, right? But it looks like it wants to. Just like if I dig into a daily time frame, you can see no bearish day. I mean, yes, we had this one day of top wick, but completely no downside follow through, right? We just kept on moving all the way up on every dip we saw this previous week. So pretty bullish action, market action. This was, like I said, support. Now it can act as resistance, at least, first touch. And then we can try to see if it wants to go towards this downtrend line and eventually take it out. Because if I zoom out a little bit, actually go in the weekly view, you can see this is like the 5th touch point, right? 1, 2, 3, actually 4th, right? I mean, if you don't call it this one, but then it could be 4th or 5th touch point, and eventually it's much more clearer in the SPY chart. But looks like it wants to go higher if we can get above 282 level. On the downside, I would say if I go to a 4-hourly view, this whole 274, 275 area can be the support because it was resistance on the way up. You can see in the lower time frame it had a couple of touch points. So unless or until we can get close below 275, 274, the chart can eventually make a higher low and try to take out this 282 resistance. Okay, let's go back to SPY. Okay, yeah, so this is a weekly view. You can see this is clearly showing a better approach towards the downtrend line, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th time. So the difference is every time it was touching the downtrend line, it was doing it by making lower lows, right? Lower low right here. And this time around, this is a higher low. So from that perspective, it could be a sort of a not slow, clean looking inverse head and shoulders, right? With this being the neckline or downtrend line, whatever you want to call it. And now it's ready to try to move back up towards its next resistance around 410, 412 on a weekly level, right? If I drill to a daily view from structure point of view, I think the next touch point, next major touch point is around 405, that area, because right here you can see it has a couple of touch points right here, this one right here, and then this one right here, right? So that leads to about 4 or 5. So that can be a push if we see it the first, and before we see any pullback, and then eventually wants to go to 412. Again, on the downside, I would say as long as we are holding, let's get into maybe a 4-hourly view to kind of give us a better look and feel. If I draw a level, I think this could be a level right here, 393, 394. That can be the area to look for a pullback. and kind of stay bullish above that, right? If we get back under this blue line, then definitely, you kind of losing the upside momentum. That means you're losing the immediate uptrend line here as well in the shorter time frame, things of that nature, right? So we're right there, downtrend line. Let's see if you want to take it out next week. SPX, similar look and feel, right? Weekly view, same number of touch points, same looking bullish week, just closed below the downtrend line. Let's see if you want to see a push towards 40.76 and then 42.03 on the downside. Again, as long as we are above, I would say 39.46, 39.40, let's just call it, the chart and structure remains bullish, right? This looks like a nice uptrend line as well. If you look at like this, we'll see. Usually people call it ascending wedge, that if it breaks down, it can go like that. But if it breaks down, sure, we'll see it as an opportunity to buy around 39.50, 39.40 if it can get there for a bounce and eventual breakout above the downtrend line, right? The first drop could be 40.50. That's just like a big round number, and then 40.76 on the upside. Let's go to take a look at Amazon. What a nice bounce in this name from the green box entry that we just had right at 81, right? Like that's where the green box started from, and it was all the way till 76, 75, but we really see a nice, I wish I had bought more, but I already trimmed some, but holding some shares right now just to kind of see how far it can move up. 9,800, definitely a round psychological number. That's where you will see some resistance, but eventually if we take that one out, the structure low previously was around 105, right? This one right here, yeah, we kind of saw a little bit of bounce, and then eventually when we gave up that level, it kind of tried to get back towards that level, got rejection from there, and then moved down towards the green. And now we're moving back up after seeing some buying pressure, bottom wicks, and now if we can take this level out, 105 definitely looks like in the picture. And the downside, you can see price action wise, again, more bullish trend bars, no bearish follow through. As long as we're above, I would say 91, 92, it's fine. Even above this downtrend line, it can be a back test, right? It did back test this one right on Friday, and then saw a nice move back to the upside around 98. So as long as above 92, 93, chart is fine. So we can see that as a pullback. Okay, let's take a look at Apple. That's what everybody likes to see as well. Just take a look at for a monthly perspective. Still weak, but finding some support here around 123, 128. I'm still not really convinced that it has reversed, right? So I will still be cautious. Just because it's still below this downtrend line, right? It really needs to move back up towards 145 and then show some strength above this one. Otherwise, it's just a bounce right off of this buying pressure. Nothing too exciting, right? This was support 135, right? And now when we gave up that level, that's exactly where we're back up. 131.4 was our weekly pivot. So above that, we were bullish. Below that, we were bearish, right? So that kept us or gave us good clues as to the market sentiment, as to the playing the bullish side or the bearish side, right? Below 131.4 bearishness, above 131.4 bullish. So as long as we are above 131.4, the preference is to look for pullbacks, look for bullish setups, look for setups towards, if you're trading in a lower time frame, look for price to get back towards the lower time frame EMAs, SMAs, things like that. So any bullish setup would have worked better than the bearish one as long as we were above 131.4. So think on those lines, like when you're trading this name or any other name for that matter. Tesla. Monthly view still under pressure. Nothing has changed. Technically lower lows, lower highs, right? So from that perspective, yeah, preference remains on the short side, right? But things can change from day to day and a week to week. So from weekly perspective, again, I think this is a first week in a while we have seen where we are seeing a higher low and a higher high, right? But From the structure perspective, it is still weak while the market has recovered somewhat, right, with some nice bullish trend bars. This name is still under pressure under 126. Not a great looking bullish week, right? It's very much contained, very much range bound between like what 126 to 114, so maybe 10 11 points range, which is not much, right? On a daily perspective, still okay, flaggish. Sure, I can play a little bit on the top, the bullish side, if we can get a break above this channel in a lower time frame. As long as it's holding this I don't know, what is that, 115, 114, right? It was resistance on the way up, and now it's been providing some support since the past full week, right? So structure bullish, neutral above that, weak, and bearish below that, right? If we get above and break above 126, definitely we have room towards this channel downtrend line. I think if I go to like maybe an hourly view, you can see this whole channel, and let me bring the levels to just kind of give you a better view of what we're looking at, right? So this is a resistance zone, right? And since then we have been just kind of going sideways to slightly down in this channel like manner. So if we get a move down here, definitely we look to buy, see if we can bounce from back there. If not, your stop loss is tight, and if we can break below 114.6, 113, that can be a breakdown and weakness. To play any bullishness, 122.6, 124 break, and then we'll see if we wants to take this 126 resistance. Okay, let's take a look at Netflix. What a nice super run in this name. This was one of the highest paying names for myself personally this past few weeks. It has been on a tear, right? No bearish week was seeing any downside follow through. Bottom wicks, green trend bars. So the earnings are coming up next week, I think, sometime mid next week, and then that can definitely add more fuel to the fire, or if it wants to bring it down, right? From technical perspective, remains strong. Nothing damaging on the name. Pullback could be 321 for right now, or 311, right? Depending on where we open, how fast it moves. But right now, uptrend line, even in the daily view, you can see no bearish structure, no bearish day, seeing any downside follow through. Here is the channel high right here. If it wants to rally towards 352, earnings can definitely push it even higher. On the downside, I think if it takes a dip towards 290, that can be worth a shot for a bounce trade. If we get a nice dump after the earnings, that's like the channel low, so that's where we can go long and see if he wants to bounce from there. So few scenarios that can play out. NVDA weekly view, it's nice, it's fine. I'd say 176 can be in cards initially, and then 193, that's where this whole structure high is, right? That's where the resistance zones are. So definitely that can be the picture. If we can kind of take out this 176 to 180 level, that's where the recent swing high is, right? So it's trying to move back up now. We'll see how this one plays out. This level right here, bottom wicks right here showed some buying pressure, so that was nice in the daily view. Nice higher lows, higher highs, no red bar, right? I'd say as long as it can stay above 161 right here, because that was resistance, now it acted as support. So as long as we're above that, we can kind of crawl, move towards 176. That's where we kind of saw some rejections from, right above that. So that can be in the play. We'll see if it wants to dip and give us a buy towards 176. Anything below 160, 161 is weakness. Back towards 151, which is a larger support zone. Okay, Microsoft, not bad, I would say. Again, with the rest of the market bullish inside week, anything can happen. Usually that's just a pause. So from weekly perspective, still weak, still below 245.6. That's where we see the rejections from. That's where the recent weekly resistance is. So as long as below that, preference is to look for a short on strength, and that can be here 246 level, where if we see a nice move to the upside early in the week, that's where we can look for some short against maybe a back test of this this trend line, right? Or if it wants to go towards 250, look for a short there. Try to play towards the support zone, and so on and so forth. On the downside, I would say, anything below 233 is weakness. Right now it's 239, because that's again where we saw some resistance on the way up, right? And then it can be a support zone. So anything below that is weakness. All right. Okay, let's take a look at Google. Weekly view, I would say, oh man, do you guys remember we played this this short flag break? Remember this whole can't believe we have been there, done that kind of thing. So it's already played out, that big flag target zone right here. So this green box was again below 84 towards 80, and it has bounced all the way up like around 15 bucks, gave us a retrace back, and now it's just again coming off of these bottom wicks. So not, it's just still a bounce. Nothing has changed. Yes, from weekly perspective, we have a higher low and a higher high, but we really need to see some some more follow through to that kind of price action to see, okay, this is getting strong. But from trading perspective, yeah, sure, once we get above 93, we can look for some play towards again 94, and then eventually this downtrend line, right? If we kind of take that out. On the downside, if it pulls back again, 92 can be your support zone, and then see if it wants to continue higher. But I'd say 90 to 89 is your level to stay bullish or cautiously, sideways if you're playing that kind of setup. If not, then below 89, look for 84 to be retested again, because this whole bunch of this clutter zone right now, it's not really showing any momentum either way, right? So unless or until that kind of price action changes, it's hard to kind of pick a side which way you want to go. All right, let's take a look at BA. It's been really kind of on a tear this past month or so. Looking nice, right? We have sort of, I'd say, double bottom kind of a pattern right here. We saw this move back up, and now we are above this downtrend line. Nice. So that's where the structure high comes in. So 234 can be the target in the coming week or couple of weeks. Look for a pullback as an opportunity in the weekly time frame to see if it gives us a pullback, right? This is a weekly view. I think it already did, because look at this. It broke out above this 203 resistance, and then this past week it retested that and then just bounced back up. So now I think it looks like it wants to go towards 234 as long as it holds this 203 support zone. Anything below that, we can see if it wants to give a fake breakdown and then back up or what, but then 180 can be in play if it breaks down below 200 level. Okay, hope you guys like this week's video. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please feel free to share. All right, have a good weekend, everyone.